You're listening to the Sketchnote Army Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rohde, the author of the Sketchnote Handbook and the Sketchnote Workbook, and this is the podcast where I chat with sketchnoters and visual thinkers and try to understand what makes them tick. Everyone, welcome, and I'm here with my friend and fellow visual thinker, Andreas Gaertner. Andreas, so good to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome back, Mike, and thank you definitely for having me. It's such an honor if I look at all the great guests you have had so far. So thank you very much.
You're so welcome. And, I wanted to have you on because I follow you on Instagram primarily, and it's just fun to see your life. Like you have such a style, right? Your signature colors, black and like a bright red, and you sort of have a 1930s, I don't know, I guess, GQ style, which I love. That's an era that I love as well. Drive really interesting old cars and probably have other, stuff from the era, right? So that attracted me, but also your style and the way that you teach and like your whole personality really comes through on Instagram, particularly in your videos. And I thought, Andreas is a guy I have to have on the show because you're just such an interesting person. And if people don't know about you, they should know about you and start following you. So that's the reason why I chose you. I just loved sort of the whole personality and package that you present. And I think it's really valuable to share for the community. So I always begin by asking, Andreas, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much. Right now, I'm getting red. I don't know if you see it, but I'm getting red for your great warm words. Thank you so much. And I would like to add something regarding the old car. It's a Morgan, and you know what? It's 2 years old. It's 2 years old, and it looks like 100 years or older.
Wow.
And this is something I love, something which is new from today, but looks old, So
interesting.
It's something I really love. Yeah, exactly.
So the question I have to ask you is the Morgan have modern engine and electronics, or is it a new old car? In other words, does it have carburetors and old technology just built brand new? How does that work?
It's a new engine. It's a Ford engine in there. And, the company Morgan, they are based in UK, and they are doing this since 110 years. And they have a great sentence. They say, we are not changing, but constantly updating. We are not changing, but constantly updating. So I love that so much. Because I've been there to this company and to this great factory, and I was standing there when my car was built. Can you imagine that? I stood in front of it, and it was built, it was painted, and suddenly the CEO Steve Morris came across and said, "Hey, let's make a selfie." And I was so shocked, Just imagine that at Porsche or Audi or Mercedes, this will never happen, And so, it's something very personal and still something that I love, even with regard to my job, to my company, and to stuff, that you have to go a unique way, Otherwise, you're fall apart and you are not seen. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just one of the sea of people that's just like everyone else, right? Interesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. It would be interesting to see. So we mentioned this Morgan in their statement, to see how that filters to your life, because it feels like to me you were maybe attracted to that vehicle because of their mindset that maybe exists in you already. So let's see if that's true. So I've interrupted you. Please continue in telling us what you do.
Yeah. So what I do, who I am, I'm Andreas Gaertner, as you already said, and I'm a father, first of all, a father of 2 wonderful girls. I'm a husband since 15 great years right now. I'm a degreed illustrator, so I studied drawing. I'm a co-founder of an agency called Die Zeichner. That's in English, it's the draftsman, so to say. And I'm a graphic recorder, and I do love what I do. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, loving what I'm doing.
So now that makes me curious about how did you end up in this place? Because many of us are doing this work in one way or another, some as their primary, some as just an addition to their profession, some just for fun. How did you end up coming into the space? Because with so many options to go in different directions. What drew you to this space specifically?
First of all, I listened to my grandma. My grandma said to me a great praise. She praised me and said, "Oh, you know what? You can draw like my father." And I was, "What, really?" And I started to believe that I can do something great, that I do something differently, that I have something, And with this small sentence from my grandma, I think I was 6 years old, everything started. I didn't stop drawing like a lot of other kids around me. They said, "Oh, come on, that's not cool. I can't do it," and stuff like that, And I was addicted to draw, and I felt very early on that there is something moving when you're drawing for people, that people are engaged or fascinated, And so everything started with that. And then I was 18 and I started to work in a tattoo shop. And I know I don't look like a tattoo guy, because here with my stuff, what I'm wearing and so on, but it was a tattoo shop on the Reeperbahn in Hamburg. So it's it's very rough area in Hamburg. And furthermore, my boss was from the Hells Angels. So it was a really rocker guy, with big muscles and stuff like that. I could draw you quickly. If you watch this wonderful episode on YouTube, you can see how he looked. He was really looking angry sometimes, and he had something like long hair, and he had big muscles all around him. And he said to me in this tattoo studio, he said to me, "Andreas, before you start to tattoo people, you have to do something. You have to draw 1,000 of these roses, 1,000 times, because back then a lot of people still wanted to have this rose here tattooed on their arms and stuff like that. And so he said he was a believer of doing something, and then you are better in it, And so he said, "Come on, do this 1,000 times. Before that, you are not going to tattoo anybody." And I said, "Come on, really? Is not 200 enough or 400? And, he stood there like this and he said, "Shut up, do it." In German, it was Fresse halten, machen, and I was shocked by this big, huge guy screaming at me. But what I took out of this was that doing is most important. Talent is often overrated.
Yes.
Doing is the most critical thing, the most important stuff. And so this was a thing that I took out of this time in a tattoo studio. And I even have here a postcard on my desk. Fresse halten, machen in Germany, shut up, do it. It stays here on my desk all the time. If I start to, "Oh, come on, do I have to do so much?" Then just shut up, do it. It's it became kind of a core sentence for me. And after that, after the tattoo time, after 1 year, I really skipped because the guys who have been there were too rough for me. I'm a sensitive guy. So I started to study at the university illustration. And at the university here in Hamburg, I studied that you try to find your style. You try to check a lot of materials and to find your style to earn money with that in the future. This is all of the aim, to find your niche or your future customer segment, so to say, where you will rock with the illustrations. And this is what I love. I studied very, very long. And I from the beginning on, while I was studying, I was working for companies from the economy. And they asked me, "Andreas, come on, join our workshop, our ideation workshop, and draw live the ideas." And this is the time where I started really to visualize key messages and to visualize ideas very fast. And that was a great school, a lot of chances to learn to really, really be fast drawing, because they didn't wait with their ideas when I'm ready to draw it, because they just made a lot of hundreds of ideas and I had to draw them all. And so I really get in touch with the economy and with companies while I was studying illustration. And other colleagues or other student friends from my university, they started to draw children's books or worked for newspapers and stuff. And I found my niche, so to say, in the economy and companies, so to say. And one of these clients said then to me, "Hey, Andreas, have you ever heard of graphic recording?" And I said, "Yes, of course. Can you do this?" And I said, "Yes, of course." You know, that was a big bluff. I've never heard before. I've never heard of that. And he said, "Oh, right. Then you have to do it in front of," it was really the CEO of Nestle some years ago. It was a huge event with VIPs and stuff. And he said, "Okay, when you can do it, go there and draw live. Make your graphic recording." And that was my first one. I've never heard from it. Wow. And I was, what? So I bluffed, you know. But after the bluff, of course, I have to perform, you know. And then I started to check websites from America, where a lot of inspirations for me in there. And I started to train, to look at videos and stuff. And finally, I did it, you know. It worked out. And I was glad that nobody saw that this was the first graphic recording back then, you know. And so for me, it's also something, because you ask how happened or what happened that you are there where you are right now. For me, it's always it's also something, start with a bluff and then just do it, you know, just perform. And after that experience in 2015, I had the chance to make a TEDx talk in Germany about graphic recording. And this one is right now, I think, close to 100,000 viewers. Right now, they clicked it. And back then, 7 years ago, I wasn't really sure what I'm doing there. Maybe you see that in that video.
but we'll have to put it in the show notes for sure. Yeah,
I was so nervous and stuff, you know. And but that was a huge thing for me, to get on the stage and start talking about my profession, about graphic recording and live visualization. And then 2015, we founded Die Zeichner, our agency. And as I told you, here I can show you right now. I'm sharing my screen with Mike. And you can see some pictures what we are doing. Die Zeichner, we are there to create vision pictures, strategy pictures, team pictures, you know, all stuff of visualizations to optimize communication for our customers. So this is what we do. And what we really love to do is with this kind of mode, because we create our visuals together with our clients. This is what we love so much, you know. We are together before Corona, before COVID, of course, a lot in one room, but right now, of course, also digitally, we are together and we draw live the ideas. I'm so addicted to drawing live, you know, to people, and to make to bring their ideas to life on a paper or on a digital board. I love that so much. And this is our mode, how we produce great illustrations and pictures for our clients. And let me have a look on my notes. 2017, I started to teach at a university close to Münster, the town where I'm living, it's Osnabrück. There was a great chance to teach how to use visualization for communication. You know, fast sketch, fast drawing, to tell your story. And after that, a book came out for me.
Great.
2019, Made in Creativity.
Nice.
It's a travel guide, so to say, a travel guide for companies to be more creative. And it's a book we created together, a friend of mine, Reinhold Rapp, and me. And this was 2019. It's only in German, unfortunately. It's not in English. And yeah, the last thing I want to share with you is 2019. There was I was in a TV show, and more of this kind of TV show. It's called Hirschhausen's Sprechstunde. It's really hard to listen to that when you're not from Germany. A lot of sh in there, you know. Yeah. But it's a very well-known TV star in Germany, and I was working with him together, drawing live in the studio on TV while listening to the key messages of his guests and his key messages. And that was also a hard school, you know, I learned so much again to be more faster, to be much more faster, because I had an in-ear from the guys, you know,
producer,
from the producer, and they said, "Come on, hurry up, we have to see something right now." all right, I'm drawing quicker, much quicker, you know. And so this was my experience with TV, and I was very honored and stunned that I was invited to draw their life with this guy. Exactly. So this is where I'm now.
Wow, that's really fascinating. It's really interesting. The pattern that I see is you talked about sort of making a bluff when you started. Probably you started that with the tattoo, right? Because you'd never tattooed anyone before. So you walk in the shop and say, "I want to be a tattoo artist." That's a bluff, right? And he makes you work for it, right? But then obviously you've probably tattooed many people. Probably lots of roses, right?
Probably, yeah. And by the way, Mike, the story with the bluff is really interesting because, yes, I went in there with a bluff, but I was honest, you know. I said, I cannot do that. Please teach it to me, you know. And then we bluffed to the customer because he said, "I want to have a tattoo here." And my boss said to the customer, "Oh, look at Andreas. He's a guest tattoo artist from the Netherlands, you know." And I was, "What? Netherlands? Really? Okay." So, you know, and we bluffed in front of the client to make him calm, you know, to relax him, the customer.
Make you special, you know. You're not like a first-time tattoo artist. You're now a visiting guest artist, right? It's different. Exactly. The mindset changes.
Definitely, the mindset changes, and for me, and of course for the customer, the mindset, you know, that he's not afraid that the guy who's tattooing for the first time is doing something crazy on my body, you know. And so, yeah, it's as you say it's a lot of bluff in my life. But after that, always perform, you know. Yeah.
I have a phrase, I don't know where it came from, but I talk about doing the same thing for myself. Like agreeing to write a book is another thing. Like I'd never written a book. I'd helped people illustrate books, but I'd never written one myself. So it was a new experience. In fact, so much so that when we published the book and we sold the initial run within 9 months, I was like, "Is that good?" And my editor was like, "Yes." No, a lot of people never sell very many books. Like, so I had no experience. And the phrase that I sort of have come up with for myself, it's kind of silly. It's, I put myself in a pickle. I guess that's maybe an English aphorism, but the idea is that you sort of put yourself into a corner where you have to perform, right? You sort of bind yourself, you take the constraints that are around you and you sort of bind yourself in, and now the only thing left is to perform, right? So in some sense, it's not even like bluffing so much. It's like you obviously had the talent to do it. Otherwise that guy would have fired you, right? He could see something in you. Yeah. So you're sort of putting constraints on yourself, and then the only way is forward. And you've sort of, in all those cases, when you did the first graphic recording, right, you put yourself into a situation where you said you knew what it was and you could do it. But you must, I mean, by that point, you'd been in illustration school, you'd been a tattoo artist. You'd seen that you do perform under that kind of pressure, and you knew that that was the kind of thing, maybe subconsciously you knew that was important for you to do for yourself, because it would elevate you to the next thing. Same with going on a TV show. Same thing with becoming a teacher. Like, all these things are level ups where you're making a bet on yourself to perform, and you're sort of putting yourself in a position where you have to. That's really fascinating. And it seems like a pattern for you, for sure.
It's really, it is a pattern, definitely. And for me, it is like first when I start, I have this room around me. It's a
Mm-hmm.
small room where I feel comfortable and I fill this room. And when I do something new, we called that bluff, but if it's something like you enter a new room and now
Mm-hmm.
it's the time to fill that room, fill that room with your passion, with your power, with your performance, and with that you are getting bigger. You fill that room and then
Yes.
you're even bigger, and there's then the next level, the next room around you that you have to fill. And so I really love this kind of
Mm.
set myself under pressure to fill the
Yeah.
room or to perform, and then I grow. And this is really and
Mm.
I'm always getting nervous, but in a good way,
Yeah.
in a good way, nervous that I think, oh, there's something in there, I have to perform. Yeah. And that time my kids and my wife cannot talk to me because I'm on a focus, I'm in a
Yeah.
flow. And I think this is really, it's a good thing to get something done.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's an interesting tidbit. I used to have tropical fish when I was younger, and something that I always learned is you try to get the biggest tank you can afford, because some fish, if you put them in too small of a tank, will never grow uh, to
Oh.
their ability,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you get so a fish has a certain size that they typically grow to. I guess carp maybe maybe they bypass this rule. Like maybe they can get big because there've been giant carp that live in rivers and such, right,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
hundreds of years. But for tropical fish, like if you don't give them a big enough tank, they will have a stunted life, right? They will not grow
Mm-hmm.
to their full potential. So you really
Mm-hmm.
need to keep on, like as they get older, or you need more of them. You need the space, like there's a certain amount of space per fish that you need to provide. And it
Mm-hmm.
sort of struck me that in some ways you're like putting yourself in a new tank with new water so that you can
Mm-hmm.
grow and you can stretch yourself a little bit more. That's really fascinating
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
pattern that you're following, continue to follow.
Yeah, it's a good picture in my mind. I will keep that from you with
Hmm.
a small fish in a small tank, make a
Yeah.
big tank and the big fish. It's good. It's great. I love it. But of course, you have to go out of your comfort zone. It's such an old sentence, leave your comfort zone, but it
Hmm.
is as it is. You have to leave that where you think you are safe, and
Yeah.
then you can conquer a new room or a new, as you said, tank for the fish. That's something really important from my point of view.
I almost hesitate. Like my initial reaction is that's part of life, but I think
Mm-hmm.
in reality the statement is that is life. Like if you're
Mm-hmm.
not growing, right, you're shrinking in some ways, or
Mm-hmm.
you're not. So another thing that I remember is when I first did public speaking, I was really nervous, but once I got into the flow of it, I was like, "Ooh, this is really fun." Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is I
Yeah.
could do more of this. And I told a friend who is a pretty established public speaker, and I said, I had this really weird like nervousness when I went up to the thing, but once I got into it, I felt pretty good. And he's like, "Yeah, that nervousness is all the energy you have because you're
Mm-hmm.
excited, but you're not really sure where to put it yet. So if you get up on the stage, he told me, if you get up on the stage and you feel nervous, that is a good sign. That means
Yeah.
you've got energy. You can now
Mm-hmm.
redirect that in a positive direction." And that always stuck in my mind whenever I would go on a stage or speak, that this is what it's all about. And it would sort of remind me like, you know, this is this is a real honor and opportunity to speak to people and share your story or teach ideas or whatever. And it's always
Mm-hmm.
come to mind that this is like all this energy you've built up and you just have to let it out in a positive direction, because then that helps other people who are listening to maybe do the same thing. That's really
Mm-hmm.
fascinating.
Yeah. Definitely. The to be nervous is yeah, it sets you on fire, and then you are there right now. You are
Yeah.
there. But of course, you have to be prepared that you are not too nervous to perform.
Right.
That it's not in your way to be the best you in this moment. And I have such a bad story. I was so nervous before a public speaking thing. I think something like 100, 200 people in the audience. And I went up and I talked about these Made in Creativity book, the key messages out of our book. I was on stage and I was so nervous that my voice is getting low, or you know, that I don't have enough water in my mouth. So I had a little pill in my mouth before I went on the stage, a little pill that I can easily and enjoy, like a sugar thing in my mouth, and then it creates some wetness in my mouth, you know. And the host said, okay, right now Andreas on the stage, and the little pill was not gone in my mouth, it was still there. And I went on the stage and I said, to myself, oh no, I cannot, I have something in my mouth, I cannot speak, oh my god. And I wanted to put the little thing out of my mouth, and it fell on the floor for the first row of the people, you know. Just imagine that somebody is going on the stage and throws something out of his mouth from the stage, and I was, oh my god, what I've done, you know. But this was really cool because the audience saw that I was nervous, and they said, oh, come on, chill, easy, everything is fine. And then I performed in a way. But this was a point where I was so nervous that I stood in the way of performing, you know.
I see. Yeah. It's interesting, like maybe in some ways, like spitting that thing out in some ways could have been good, right? Because it's like, what's the most embarrassing, worst thing that could happen? Spitting something out in front of the crowd, right? Like you just got it out of the way, and now it's like everything you can only go up from here, right? You're at the bottom, exactly. And now you can go up.
Oh my god! They have been shocked, I think, the audience. What's up with him? What is he doing there? Spitting at us? What? Oh man, really?
That's hilarious. So now we've talked about how you got to where you are, which is pretty cool. What's next for you? Is there anything that you're that's getting you excited now that you want to talk about that is in the future that that is ahead for you?
Yeah. There is, of course, something that is in the future that is in my mind, and I started something with that right now because I created an online course with it's in German, but it's an online course for to get in the best performance mode for a graphic recorder. I call it the 10 steps to be a graphic recording pro. And what I'm doing in this 5 hours videos is sharing with you all I experienced in my 17 years of visualizing key messages very quick. And I share that with you. And this is something I took out of the pandemic, you know, out of this situation we are in. And this, I want to do more of that, to share knowledge, and to do something live, maybe on YouTube as well, to do live visualizations and just go in this sharing mode, you know, to share the knowledge and the experience. So this is something I really love to do in the future. And what I also love is to leave this graphic recording huge mural thing, you know, the giant boards of drawing on big events. Right now, I love to draw on small shapes, you know, small shapes. We call that share notes. We also have a website for that, sharenotes.de, if you would like to see what we are doing there. And what we're doing is I'm drawing key messages on small piece of papers, a lot of them, and we are loading them up to an online gallery so that the participants can download them immediately. And after that, we are printing them on postcards, so that if people are on an event live, they can take their key messages with them, and they can choose, you know, instead of, okay, now I have a huge picture from the artist, so to say, here it is. You can choose what key message was for you the most important one. And so this is something I would really enjoy doing more in the future, you know, to change the format on which I'm working. And what I furthermore love is this stuff, what I said about our agency, Die Zeichner, how we create visuals, because we call that graphic meetings. It's like a visual workshop where we listen to our clients, we ask questions, we listen, and we draw. And all at the same time on this digital board or live, you know, in front of our clients. But what really fascinates me in this graphic meetings is that they start to talk to each other, and they start to clarify the issues they have. They start to talk about the strategy, the vision, the team building stuff, and we bring that to the wall. And while it's on the wall, or because it is on the wall, they can see it and change the way to talk about it. And in the end, we go always out with a very fast sketch of the final one, which we then, finalize in the studio. But the graphic meetings is something I really, really love and would also do more in the future. And there's the last one, Mike, donation. I started a donation project in December. I started this, and I said to guys and girls and followers, I said, I will draw you. I will make a portrait out of you. I will draw you, and I will donate for that 30 euros for each portrait to two organizations. The first one is a children hospice in Münster here in our town, and the second one is Doctors Without Frontiers. And with that project, over 5,000 euros came together, and we could donate them to these great organizations. And it was so much fun to draw all these people, all these followers who sent me their favorite photos, and I made a sketch out of them. I draw them, and it was really, that was cool. And that donation project, I would love to do this more in the future, to do something good with drawing, but not just earning money with it, but giving back.
It seems interesting to me that every one of those things, I think, that you mentioned is some kind of an interactive activity. So you're working with companies. In a lot of ways, you're facilitating this discussion. You're encouraging them because they have the feedback loop of the drawing. You're asking questions. So you're involved in that. The same thing with the drawing, right? People got a drawing. You got the practice and the fun of doing it. And then these charities received money, which helps them with their mission, right? So this idea of like layering things that you like together and then being interactive seemed like really a heart of where your practice and your work is at and where it's heading to, which is really great. I love to hear that.
I love these, as you said, Mike, the interaction with people. I love people. I love people, really. And I love to talk to them and to fascinate them while talking, to draw their ideas. And I love these children's look in their faces when they start to see that, oh my God, he's drawing what I'm talking there. And I love that. I love that so much, really.
Yeah, that's the best feeling, isn't it? That's the best feeling.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to shift a little bit in our discussion to a question that I thought I would only have to ask for a little while, and that is, how are you dealing with the pandemic? What are some activities that are helping you when you're in lockdown or you can't do the things you like? What are some things you're doing to compensate, to help keep your spirits up, and in an effort to maybe give other people ideas who are listening?
There's one habit I started really early at the pandemic, and it started all with this book from Robin Sharma. It's Robin Sharma, and it's the 5 a.m. Club. 5 a.m. Club. And I love this book, and I started a new habit. It's getting up early, 5 a.m., and do your workout. A workout where you just start to sweat. After that, meditate, and then start the day, perform the best day ever you can do. And this is a habit I really created in this pandemic time. Get up early, do something for my body, for my health. And even this meditation thing, I never was able to do it, I thought. But in the pandemic, this silence in the morning is so helpful, and so fills you up with so much good stuff in these times where so much crazy things happens. And so this is a great habit which really changed my life in a way. Well, started with this great book here. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to definitely share the show notes so people can check it out. I've been getting up earlier as I get older, so this is kind of attractive to me. I have young kids that go to school in the morning, so being up before them would be nice because I could do all this work. I used to be a night owl. It's funny. I used to stay up late at night, and that was my peak time, and it's changing. I'm falling asleep earlier, and So my body, I think, is telling me that maybe I'm becoming a morning person, and maybe I should really make the jump to 5 a.m., right? And really go
Yeah.
for it.
That's interesting because now I have the hope that my wife also maybe will change sometimes because she is really a night owl. She is sitting
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
I don't know, very long time in the at night, and I go, yeah, get up so early. So sometimes we miss each other.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's probably
And
the only downside is, right, having to go to bed so early to make the 5 a.m. means you miss
mm,
time with your wife.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, that's sometimes hard, because at
Mm-hmm.
10 p.m. I want to go to bed, and of course, so there's not a lot of time to have a great, real huge dinner with a great movie afterwards, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, the power I get out of this quiet mornings, ooh, that's just really um, enormous. Yeah, that's cool. I love it.
That's a great suggestion, I think,
Hmm.
for someone who's listening, maybe to try,
Yeah.
especially with with the year beginning and having an opportunity to start some new practices and habits. So,
And it's
um,
always and also something, my little postcard here, shut up,
yeah,
just do it. It's also something I look at this card, shut up, do it. Oh no, when I get up in the morning, oh, it's so early, I'm cold. No, I don't like to. Come on, shut up, just do it. It's really, this little card helps me a lot to
that's
get
really
up
good
there. Yeah.
motivation.
And and there's another one. Another thing is this what we all experience who are working in this visual world, visualizing for clients. This less travel thing is really something that you maybe have heard a lot, but it's really also from my side. It's these less travel, have more quality time for the family. Really changed also everything for me, and
Yeah.
had yeah, and there came something up in my mind that the travel time, these huge amount of lifetime you spend in the train or a plane to go to the customer, that have to be more expensive. It has to be more expensive to be there, from my point of view,
Yeah.
versus just click on a button. Here I am. After that, switch it off, and I'm at my family's and at my family desk, or
Yeah.
with my wife and kids. So there's something regarding business changed for me with the money I want to earn,
Mm.
which is something I can make here from my office or when I go to the customer, to be
Mm.
physical there. So this is also a huge
Mm.
change. Yeah.
So the in person is super high value, and there accordingly is charged in that way,
Yeah.
which makes sense, right?
Hmm. I
Interesting.
think so. Yeah. From my
Interesting.
point of view. And I look at my notes. I have something also very important is this video call thing. I think that right now, Mike, we both see each other with this video call, and I can see my clients, and my clients can see me through this video calls, and so they can see directly what I'm doing and what I'm able to do. So from my point of view, it's also to sell your what you are offering. To sell your skills to the client is much more easy with this video call stuff, because it's so
Mm.
just one click, you are there, you can see each other, and you can show what you can do for them. And
Mm-hmm.
this is for me also a door that was kicked up or open by the pandemic. These because before the pandemic, the clients were not really, they didn't like that, to switch on the camera and stuff. No, I don't want
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
that you can see me. But now it's no problem, and
Mm-hmm.
you can perform or already before they are your clients, to
Mm.
show
Yeah.
what you can do.
Interesting. It's sort of like the pandemic in some ways forced like a level of technical skill that wasn't required before, right? Now
Yeah,
everyone has to have a camera of some kind.
yeah.
Everyone has some tool, Zoom or Blue Jeans or whatever,
Mm.
right? These like the I like to say like Uber couldn't have existed until there was mobile phones, GPS, and probably payment systems in place, right? The
Mm.
combination
Mm.
of those three were required because you needed some kind of mobile phone to show and GPS to show your location. so that the car could find you, and then
Yeah.
the payment system so that you would have this escrow and all those. It's like all the pieces had to line up at the right time, and then that could happen. In some ways, it's going to be interesting to see in the future how this forced change across the whole world all at once will impact communications going forward. I think it already has, as you've noted, but it'd be interesting to see where else does it go now that we have this foundation. What else can we do with that? I think that's going to be fun to see. This episode of the Sketchnote Army podcast is brought to you by Concepts, an infinite canvas sketching app built for tablets with a stylus, like the iPad Pro, Microsoft Surface, and Samsung Galaxy Tab. Concepts' infinite canvas lets you spread out and sketch in any direction. Everything you draw in Concepts is a flexible vector, so you can move your notes around the canvas or change their color, tool, or size with a simple gesture. Search Concepts in your favorite app store for infinite, flexible sketching. Which it makes me think about the next question, which is tools. We're at the point in the podcast where we talk about tools. And I'm going to start with analog first, because I think you still love analog as well. Pens, paper, pencils, and then switch to digital and the kind of tools that you find useful in your digital practice.
Definitely. I have just analog. I have only, it's a one tool or two tools. It's just it's a gray marker, or let's see, it's from Neuland. But the kind of marker or the brand is not really necessary to know, but it's the color that makes for me a difference, because it's gray. And I use a dark gray, a color code 105 from Neuland. I love this color code because it's not so light, but you can see it good. And then there's the black one. It's a black marker. This one is from Neuland as well. And but you can choose whatever other marker you want to take. Gray and black. Gray for your visuals, for the illustrations, and black for the text. Black for the words, for the key messages. This is my something that changed a lot in my graphic recordings and changed a lot in the quality of my visuals, from my point of view and from the point of view of my customers. Because with these two things, you create two levels of information. The gray one is the visual stuff, fun stuff, but the black one, this is, we do this to get the content on the paper. Content is king. So I take the black one because you see it right from the beginning very fast, and then the gray one to support the key messages. So yeah, this is really easy tip, favorite tool for you, but for me it was changing a lot to switch from just black everything, little color, here it is, because then the eye is really has to search. Okay, what is important? Hopefully you've chosen the colors right, so that I have a structure. If not, oh my God, I'm lost. But with this gray and black, you already in the creation of the visual can do this level work, of information. And this is, so from my point of view, very it changes a lot in your drawings.
Interesting. Is there a certain paper that you like? Do you just use rolls of paper? Do you use A4 printer sheets? Like, is there anything special about paper you use, or you just take whatever's available?
Yes, copy paper is okay. For example, if I do my share notes, the short format form or the small format form, I can use copy paper, but I'd like to take a little thicker ones, like 180 gram in Germany.
Yeah, so quite Europe. Thick, yeah.
So quite thick, because it feels more. It feels more like an artwork, you know what I mean? It's not so cheap, a little thin paper. So this is the only thing, white, and 185, 80 gram in Europe, in Germany. I would almost choose as paper.
Probably approaching a cardstock almost, right? It's got a little bit of a snap to it.
Okay,
like
cool.
When you snap the page, it's sort of thick, So interesting.
Very good, And regarding the digital tools, there is, first of all, one that is changing my way to communicate with you also, Mike, because it's a teleprompter. You know this maybe from television and stuff, you know, that little thing with a mirror where text is rolling down that you can read something. Right now, I'm not reading text, but I'm seeing you because I have the teleprompter right here in front of me. And behind that mirror is my webcam so that I can see you and you see me, you know, and it's not like, hey, how are you, Mike? Nice to see you, you know, and then just look back and stuff. This is not good communication. And so this is for me a digital favorite tool yet in this online video call world to make a difference in communication. So it's on your eye level and then teleprompter. And the teleprompter, there has to be just an iPad or stuff laying under the mirror. So, and then I have connected the iPad to the Zoom meeting, or I started the Zoom meeting on the iPad, and then I see you right now, and I look in your eyes as if we met each other in person here right now.
So now, is this a special? The question I would ask is, on the teleprompter. Okay, many people have an iPad. I've got an old iPad Mini. Maybe I could use. Is the mirror sort of translucent? So in other words, the mirror shows as it must be below the camera, or something, or is it actually? You're not shooting through it? So, but it must be at a certain angle to show this properly. That's.
It's actually you shoot through it. Oh, it's hard for me.
That's what I wondered. Yeah,
but you shoot through it actually. So the webcam is directly hide behind that behind the mirror with black cloth around it. And I can see the small light that the camera is on, and we are talking. But that's it. The rest is just mirroring up from the iPad laying down there. If you want, I can give you the link to the product I bought at Amazon, but I'm not an affiliate. I won't earn money with that. But if you're interested, I can send you the link that you can put it in the show notes maybe.
Yeah, I think for many people in the graphic space, whether you're doing it professionally or just doing it for fun, this is becoming a requirement. Like there's so many meetings. Like I've upped my technology as well. You know, for me, I have a camera that's mounted to the wall, and it's sitting right here and pointed at me, and it's a little bit off from the screen. So I have a little R2D2 on top, and so it refocuses me here. But it would be interesting to have a teleprompter in this whole setup as well. So I'm really curious to see if this would work in my setup. And I think, as I said, people are looking for ways to improve their game in whatever little ways they can, because again, you said that's the thing that sets you apart. If it feels like, you know, I like working with Andreas because he always seems like he's talking right to me, and they have no idea that you've got this little tiny technology trick that makes that a little bit better, and it makes it feel like you're looking at me and you're paying attention, and it changes that little thing. So when we're so flat and two-dimensional, those little tiny things make such a huge difference in improving the quality. And we're trying to manufacture an in-person experience out of a flat two-dimensional image, right? So anything you can do to make that better is a huge impact, right? So
definitely. And you can the first step, if you don't want to buy this teleprompter thing, of course you can take your webcam or stuff and put it really close to the camera, you know, so that you have the feeling of you look into the eyes. But the rest you have to do is just go to YouTube and search for it, because this is also a big thing for me that I learned in the pandemic. Everything is there, all the knowledge on YouTube. You know, my whole setup here, I just watched YouTube, a German guy. I watched it and I said, oh, really? This teleprompter thing came from this German YouTube guy, you know? And he said, oh, that's so cool. And I said, really, let's do it. Let's order it. So I ordered it, I built it up, and it works. So, you know, everything is there to create your great stuff. All the knowledge, all the tips, all the cool pros who have really to know which camera, which light and stuff. It's all there. You don't have to buy huge books or whatever, and you don't have to study that, and it works. It's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. Are there any other digital tools you wanted to mention today? Any kind of drawing tools or apps or anything? Or
yes, I would really love to share my my beloved Miro board with you. Miro is just, you know, it's just it's a whiteboard, a digital whiteboard, and it's not ending, so it's you know, it's a endless
Forever
whiteboard, so to
canvas,
say.
yeah.
Exactly. And what I can do here regarding drawing is really limited, but I love it so much. So it's just, you know, you can choose some colors. You have a pen, and what I really love with Miro is that you can present like that. Just imagine that these little squares I made here right now on the Miro board are your PowerPoint slides or stuff, and you could put them in here, and then you can show your slide. I don't know what you show there, maybe the mountaintop or the vision, whatever, I don't know, and you show it, and you could add immediately some comments around that, or you can start to I don't know, to draw something right now in front of your audience to have a great presentation. And this is why I love Miro or all whiteboards so much. You can present and you can convince people, because you can draw live, they can see it, your hand is not in the way of the camera and stuff, and you are really limited regarding the art stuff. So it's really, you're fast with that. And I did also recording, visual. So my work, my graphic recording, I also did in a Miro board, and we did it all even with 9 colleagues at the same time in one Miro board. We collected drawings from more working groups, collected them in one board, and it works. It's really fantastic, and it is. You can collect there so much knowledge and preparation of a project and stuff. You can put pictures in there. So this is, my favorite tool, digital tool, to work with clients and to convince them from my work, so that they so that we get in touch with each other and make a job together. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty interesting. I've used Miro quite a bit, but not so much in that way. Using the drawing tools, I'm a big believer in really limited, simple tools, because I think it forces you to, as you say, you get fast. You don't have so many things to distract you. Oh, I should do this special brush, or you don't have it. You just have to communicate your idea, right? So, and then the addition of like being able to drop images and sticky notes and have it a collaborative space. That's really interesting. I think there could be some real fun that people could do, even with an iPad Pro. I know there's clients for iPad Pro, which you could probably do the same thing. This could be a breakthrough for someone who's maybe they're using Miro at the company and they never thought, hey, I could do drawing in there. This could be your opportunity to do that. That's really great.
Exactly. The iPad Pro is perfect for working with it. Or I have here a big Wacom screen. I'm working on it. A graphic, desktop here, graphic tablet where I'm drawing on it, and it works with the iPad Pro as well. Very, very good. And it's not the limit. You know, there's no limits. You can put everything in there, and you can draw live and present. And this is cool. I'm really impressed by that little tool, this digital one. But of course, there are a lot of other companies out there, you know, like you name it, Mural, for example, or Concepts or stuff like that, where you can work in the same way.
That's really good. So I'm going to shift again to the next question, and this is the tips question. The way I like to frame it is, imagine there's someone who's listening or watching who is into visualization, whatever that means to them. They're excited about the space, but maybe they feel like they've hit a plateau and they just need a little encouragement from you, Andreas, to bump up a little bit, 1% better, 2% better, 3% better. What would be 3 tips that you would give that person to help them move to the next level?
So the next level would be, the first thing would this be, you know, these 2 levels of information, use gray and you use black. So this for me was more than just 1% optimization in my work. So this is an easy one just to try it out. 2 levels of information, gray and black. Then there's the second tip from my point of view is you have to practice. So shut up, do it. This is the second practice, the second tip from my side, because it's if you don't do it more than just once, you're not getting better. So it doesn't matter if you are playing a piano or doing sports. You have to do it more than once, do it twice, and so on and so forth, and then you are getting better. So this is the second tip: shut up, do it. And the third one is make your drawing or sketching process visible to the customer. Make it visible. Don't hide it. Like, oh, it's my only. It's nobody is allowed to see what I'm doing here. You have to think about that for the customer. It's so much value to see you drawing, and he sees what you are doing. So this is a huge step from my point of view to get into the pro mode, to the professional area where you show the process of drawing and share it with your client. In the first call, for example, the first call where you get to know each other, start to draw and show it while you're talking. This is really, it's like a rocket, that starts from the bottom, because the client sees what you're doing and he thinks, or she thinks, wow, what a professional one. Yeah? She or he is drawing while we're talking. Oh my God, I want to book this guy or this girl, for the next Sketchnote event or stuff. Yeah. So these are my
that's great
3 tips. Yeah.
3 wonderful tips. Thank you for sharing. And it's interesting because they all come from the discussion we've had. It's just a distillation of different points in our discussion, and then brought back to, the present into these 3 tips. So it's really cool that you've tied them all together in that way. So Andreas, what is the best place for people to find you? Websites, social media? Are there places where you tend to hang out more than others?
Of course, the standard ones. So Instagram, LinkedIn, I'm there, of course. Then YouTube, I have not a lot of videos in there, but it's a promise there will be more in this year coming up. So if you want to join YouTube, then you see me in action. And of course, there is my online course with the videos. There you really can see all the tips and all drawing live and showing what I experienced and can tell to you. And of course, our website from our agency, diezeichner.de, in the show notes, I guess they will be listed down there. So just have a look what we are doing here in Germany with our skills of visualization.
Well, that's great. And I suspect people will be coming to see you when they hear or watch this episode to learn more. Keep on doing the great stuff on Instagram. I just love, once in a while, one of your teachings will pop up where you have this music playing and you're doing drawing, and it makes me smile. I don't know what to tell you. I'm smiling. I'm having my coffee. I'm like, oh, Andreas is having fun with this environment. So definitely check that out for sure. Yeah. Now remind me again, what would be your handle on Instagram? We'll of course have it in the show notes, but
it's I think it's Andreas Gaertner, a small line underscore, and then official. This official, is my, official, because there are a lot of Andreas Gaertners in Germany. Of course. So there you just add official, and then you can find me and see me dancing while I'm drawing.
Yes, and of course we'll have show note links, so if you're listening, you can pop over and see those right away. So. Well, Andreas, this has been so much fun. We've had fun talking on this podcast, and I so appreciate the work you do. I appreciate your attitude and the way you welcome people in. I think you're really a benefit to our community, and what you're doing is so helpful. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for doing that and being on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm a big fan of you.
Well, thank you. It's I'm a big fan of you as well. So, for anyone who's listening or watching, that's another episode of the Sketchnote Army Podcast. Until the next episode, this is Mike Rohde and Andreas saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
The Sketchnote Army Podcast was created by me, Mike Rohde, and brought to you by Rohdesign Studios. It's produced and edited by Alec Polianis of AMP Creative Studios. The theme music was created by John Schiedermeyer. To support the creation of this show, I invite you to buy one of my books, the Sketchnote Handbook or the Sketchnote Workbook. You can find the books on Amazon or go to peachpit.com and use the code ROHDE40 for 40% off. Please share this podcast with other visual thinking friends and be sure to leave a nice rating on iTunes or your favorite podcast listening app so others can find the show.